Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, attendance, I am not Bonds. Joe attended. Okay. All right, first thing to do, I make a motion to open up public comment, number one. And a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do you have we have a list here?
Oh, is it over here? Just two people.
Jim Kelly, Griffin Draw.
Tim's first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the town board. I'd like to just speak very quickly here on a topic that I think is very prescient to our community, especially down in the Old Hurley region of town. There's a proposal right now from Terrigen to build a battery plant on Hurley Avenue in a very small slice of the town of Ulster, immediately adjacent to both Hurley and Kingston. This facility is too big, too close, and too dangerous for anyone. And I presented the board with a memorializing resolution at the last meeting, and I would hope at the minimum, that's what your leadership would look like as a board. Would be to take that up immediately and make sure that everybody knows that this is a very critical issue. There's petitions going around. There's a lot of support for this, or support against having this type of facility. You don't want to hear sirens going off day and night in Old Hurley because of random fires breaking out at an unstaffed facility owned by out-of-state investors. You don't want to hear, potentially evacuation orders of your residents, shelter-in-place orders. These are the types of things that happen at these facilities. Okay, it's environmental contamination could potentially happen if there's a major fire. It could have consequences for hundreds of years to come. Please, I urge you as a board, take leadership on this now before it's too late. Do not adopt a wait-and-see attitude. Thank you for your time.
I just want to respond to you, Tim, a little bit.
Well, it's a public comment. I made my comment.
All right. I just want to respond to it as also. I do. I had met with Jim Quigley about this. We had actually asked Jim Quigley that we want to be an involved party. We can't be an involved party. It's going to be an interested party. We are doing that.
Why? Because Jim said so?
The lawyer said the same thing. Anyway, so myself and John Perry met with Steve Noble at Kingston. We had a united front coming through. Terrigen is going to come in.
What about Jen Metzger?
We haven't spoken. I'm just saying, Terrigen is going to come in.
Donald Trump.
Terrigen is going to come in the town of Hurley or in the city there.
They better not buy any of you off.
We are concerned.
What's going on?
Okay.
Jillian Freed, or Freed.
Hi, everyone. Your supervisor, Don.
Wait, what's your name?
Jillian Freed.
You can pull that mic down.
Your supervisor, Don, and honorable members of the town board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jillian Freed, and I live at 120 Green Street in Hollywood, New York. Over the past several weeks, I've been working to raise awareness about the proposed lithium battery facility and the serious implication it poses for our communities. To date, I have launched a petition that opposes the construction of the facility, which has gained significant traction and support from the residents. Let's say that now, and this is just the initial counting, I have 250 signatures in opposition. Thank you. Thank you very much. Personally, I myself have gathered over 180 signatures and now have a team of more than 20 residents actively canvassing and spreading awareness throughout the community. Additionally, we're in the process of designing and distributing flyers. We share information across local Facebook groups, including citizens of the town of Hurley and Rolling Meadows neighborhood group, to further educate and motivate the public. And just made aware today, there's also a changepetition.org that's going to be posted on those Facebook groups as well. I believe you can find that petition. The site is dangerously close to the highly density populated residential area. Additionally, within a 1.5 mile radius of multiple public schools, places of worship, businesses. While I understand the importance of pursuing cleaner energy sources, I believe we must also prioritize common sense planning and public safety. Supporting renewable energy does not mean every project is appropriate for every location. This particular site is surrounded by homes, schools, businesses, and places of worship, which is simply not the right place. So some of the concerns driving the opposition include fire and explosion risk due to the potential for thermal runaway and lithium ion battery systems, lack of reliable fire suppression. Conventional methods are often ineffective, and these fires can reignite and burn for days. So in California, burned for 17 days. And then there's also that cargo ship. I don't know if you saw that one in the news. Had 800 electric vehicle batteries out stranded in the middle of the Pacific. That is still burning because they cannot put that out as well. Chronic health hazards. Emerging studies link long-term exposure near such sites to respiratory, neurological, and developmental issues. Soil and water contamination from chemical studies affecting environmental health. Emission of toxic and flammable gases, including hydrogen fluoride and other harmful compounds. Inadequate emergency response capabilities. This poses both our first responders and our community members at serious risk. Evacuation risk for residents, schools, and community members in the event of a large scale failure. And lastly, decrease in home value, which impacts the town around the area. So to reiterate, this is not about reducing progress, it's about demanding responsible planning. I respectfully urge this board to advocate for a thorough environmental review, increased public engagement, and a continued support for the residents throughout this process. So thank you so much for your time, your service, and your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak who did not sign?
Gillian, did you leave a signing sheet for that? Were you gonna leave a sheet here? And
One of
extra
the
sheet?
It's the petition.
Yeah, I can leave a blank sheet.
Please do so.
Several, yeah.
Yep, you can leave it right here, please.
I want to thank Jillian for getting a hold of me, and I actually got a bunch of things for her, but she turned me on to this one article about Escondido,
Mm,
and that struck a nerve with me because Escondido is one town over from my daughter in Encinitas, about 7 miles away. And that fire burned a long time, and they can't put them out. They let them burn out, and the fire suppression is just water to spray the other ones that are close to it so that they don't catch on fire. So, and that was in an industrial park over there. And they had to evacuate 500 businesses from that fire. So look it up. It was just in September of 2024.
thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, I made a motion to close public comment number 1. Second. Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, next thing is approve the minutes. That was- Now, what things we talked about that we haven't approved so far?
Let me get that up for you, Mike. I believe there are 3 that have not yet been approved. That would be, yeah, right there, the 8th, the 22nd of April, and the 13th. There have been some email exchanges on the 13th. We know we need some corrections there.
Which were made, I distributed those to you.
Okay, have we reviewed the,
Second.
all right.
And I have,
This is 13.
it was also. On the 22nd, there was also a couple of small corrections, and I had a
April
question.
22nd.
April 22. The supervisor's report was made at 7:35, and I didn't catch who seconded that motion. Somebody has the notes for that.
We could go back and look at the video, obviously.
I tried.
John, you write down over the second.
Unfortunately, I was ignoring 22nd. That was my birthday.
How dare you?
I mean, we could
But
pick
that
one.
is one thing you have my name on it, and I wasn't present.
Oh, okay, thanks. Remind me.
I wasn't there on that, so.
No, you're not here.
No, it says Perry was absent at the
Perry
top.
says
Oh,
you're
see,
absent.
thank you. I was just quickly looking over your shoulder, I shouldn't have.
Anyway, other than that, Rich Alden, we noted that he was in favor of rail and trail. Barbara Callahan appreciates that the rail trail and doesn't want to see a break in that. Climate decline. And repairs for water and electric at Dug Hill Park were completed by the highway department during the ball fields. That was the 22nd. I didn't really get any feedback on the case. And just a couple of minor typos, so.
I looked through the 22nd. I know you think, I gave you some corrections to you corrected them.
Right,
I think also Mike Schultz, you made some corrections on that also. The 22nd of April minutes.
yes, we noted that the highway department, that he was here and the highway department finished did water and electrical repairs at the park. So,
Okay. All right. I make a motion to pass. Okay, these are the 22nd,
April
April 8th,
8th, May 13th.
And May
May
13th.
13th, we decide right now.
So hold on.
Those two.
So April and
Well, we
April.
got the 13th, so we.
Well, we got the 13th. I don't know if you guys got, I got it.
I got it.
No, I got 5.
So
Have you guys reviewed the 13th?
she's gonna,
Okay. Okay, all right. I make a motion to accept all 3. You can. Right.
On the 22nd and the 8th.
Okay, I make a motion on April 8th.
22nd, 8th and 22nd, yeah.
8th and 22nd. Approve the minutes of 8th and 22nd. Second. Do I have, discussion on it? All in favor? So the 8th and 22nd are approved. On May 13th,
Deb's going to abstain here.
I make a motion to approve the May 13th minutes.
I'll second.
Second by Diana.
Mhm.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that-
And 1 abstention.
right, okay.
Okay, so now we're just missing the 13th, the,
No, that's everything.
27th.
27th, right. Yeah, we haven't done,
27th.
those are not posted yet.
All right,
I don't think we have that. Sure.
Yeah, so I'll leave the draft on that and the 3 finals on the other.
supervisors report. Okay, just to let you know that, there's a new, the planning board meetings starting in September will begin at 5 PM and not 5:30. All right, it's on the website.
It will be. She asked me to wait until after tonight, so we'll correct the calendar. We'll put out a little announcement about it. So they're not moving their dates. It's just they're moving from 5:30 to 5.
Third or fourth Wednesday?
I can check.
Fourth Wednesday of the month.
I-
Fourth Wednesday of the month.
Yes,
5:30.
but not starting until September.
Okay, other announcement I have to make here, got this from Mike Madison. This is measles vaccine clinic on June 17th. Anybody wishing to get a measles vaccine, June 17th, we have it on the website. I gave this to you.
Yes, actually, I put up the other OFA announcement today, and I'm going to do the measles one tomorrow. It's June 17th.
June 17th.
So got over just a week.
It is at the Treaty Center at 50 Center Street in Ellenwood.
Yeah.
And that is the vaccine, the measles vaccine clinic.
It's a county thing, and it's for both.
Oh, yes,
It's for both first-time shots and also for older adults who want boosters.
Did you get this in? Okay.
It'll be on the website and Facebook tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right, that's all the answers I have to make here. The financials will be here at the next town board meeting at the end of it. The assessors report as well as the building department report will be given at that meeting also.
I saw the top.
Okay. Like to approve my report, was that? No. Okay, all right, next one is the recreation department report, John?
So we've had a lot going on, after the Memorial Day Parade, which was a great success, and the barbecue, so.
That was really good.
Everybody participated. That was good. Currently, we have a RFP out for the outfield soils and grass seed to be implemented on the outfields. That will be in by the 16th of this month as far as our deadline. So I should have that by noon, the date of our next meeting. So hopefully we can present something to you all, in reference to that for approval. My next big event will be the Hurley Day, which as of right now, looks like September 13th is a Saturday. Seems to be where we're going. My meeting is on the 16th, so these are things that I will confirm for the 16th, our meeting, the town board meeting on the 16th. To make sure everybody's aware of that. The park signs, in your packet, you've seen some new signs. The signs at the park have been
Up on the screen here.
Printed. We no longer have certain things that are even on those signs, as well as barely can see them based on fading and stuff. So the 16th, if the town board has anything that they would like to incorporate into these signs as far as hours of operation, how you want me to, establish that, this is just a proof. So my recreation department does have some ideas to present. If you just want us to move forward and present them to you all, that's fine. You'll also see I'm going to be putting up new no smoking, vaping, marijuana smoking at the town park or on town properties, which will be put up around the park. Tennis court signs they were always made out of paper with laminate. We barely lasted a year, so we're going to get some either heavy plastic or metal and have it done right, and then bolt them onto the fences. As well as we're getting quite the infiltration of dogs and having feces on our fields. So once we spend, tens of thousands of dollars to upgrade these fields, I think it's only appropriate to put no dogs on without leashes on. So those will all be going up and for your approval, hopefully at our next meeting. One of the other things I just received today was the Hurley Rec Association, which is not affiliated with the town recreation, but they have filed a grant with T-Mobile and request that the town would be willing to endorse that letter for the purposes of their grant. They need community relations and where the town would come in. I can read it, or
It's on the screen too.
is it on the screen? So this is what they're referring to. Basically, they're going to be able to repair their fields, their parking areas, the area in which they have, I don't know if you all are familiar with the old ice skating rink. So that's going to be turned back into some like a clubhouse of sorts, so the kids can have more recreational facilities and things of that nature. So all they're asking for is the town board to approve the letter, so they can move forward with their grant.
So my question is it necessary for us to approve it?
It is for so in T-Mobile, when you do a lot of these grants, they want community outreach, and that would be the town part of it. So us acknowledging that this is needed in our town acknowledges T-Mobile and move forward with this grant for this not-for-profit association earlier.
But it's even the ice rink, or they're gonna take the ice rink
I
down?
think they're taking it down.
Yeah, yes, it's long gone.
So yeah, it's been pretty.
I know it's you.
Yeah. So they're going to be transforming it into something else more suitable for whatever the needs are for them now. But so I'll do you all have that? We can present this. I wanted to present it to you, Mike, at some point if you would the town board approval, sign off on that. That way they can move forward with their grants. Lastly is I'm working with the town engineers to formulate a master plan for the town park. What that's going to consist of is making sure that we're all ADA compliant. Anything that we do infrastructure wise is brought up to code, whether it be, for example, our water testing that's being done. Part 5, thank you, Michael. So because we want to have the water fountains up there. So this is something that we have to do that I was unaware of, that I'm not asked to do by the county, but we're going to do it anyway. Just cover our coolies and make sure that things are done right. So the master plan will also allow us, once it's completed, to go after more grants, so that we can keep advancing our town parks and things of that nature. So that's something that I'm currently working on with Mike as well, and with our in-town. And especially because we're going to be moving the highway department, so everything's going to kind of correlate So I want to make sure that we're doing things correctly.
Let me just add one more thing to that. We got complaints about, when the highway department goes back on that area back there, the blueberry path that's there right now will no longer be there. They had assured us they were gonna redo the blueberry path around it. So it's moved. It'll still be there when I was coming to the end. Okay? And also, we have been approved this, I've been saying this a long time. We have been approved for $80,000 grant from the county, a matching grant. We have already put in, we have already moved in, only into, the park, $60,000. We have in-kind services that Mike Schultz and the High Department are doing as part of that kind of thing. So, we get going, we're moving.
Yep.
And also you have Mount Valley Lily.
So yeah, so they're going to be coming to me with a kind of a needs and want list, so that I have a better idea of what their softball, what baseball programs are looking for. And enhancing that will enhance any other baseball, softball programs that want to use that facility. So I'm going to utilize them kind of as a resource to get those needs and wants, so that we have the fields done correctly for licensing, and so they can, have their games and stuff that are, legal, based on Little League, and different recreational leagues in the area. Utilize it.
Yeah. And again, I want to thank also Mike Schultz
Oh,
and
yeah.
the High Department for putting in the water, the electricity there, trenching, all that.
The park's always been a soft spot in my heart. Coached softball many years, played many games up there, did a lot of work up there with the individuals.
So, just curious, because I know a lot of work is going on, each part. Can you give us an estimate of how much is within the grants and?
You might on?
So you're referring to everything from past administration to current, or just recently?
Just within the last, the current that we got.
So I can't include Mike, because he has not provided us some time with his work and machine costs. But as of right now, other than we haven't really processed anything.
Nothing yet.
So everything's kind of in limbo right now, trying to get approvals. We are waiting for the water test to get the water fountains and the systems in. The signs will probably be roughly $1,500 to $2,000. So yeah, I mean, right now we haven't spent a lot of money, so we.
Well, I mean, the reason why I bring it up is that it's not so much the fact that it's a lot of money or a little bit of money, some
Right.
grants and so on that has gone in. I think the point I'm trying to make here is that a lot of effort is going into making this park more, right? Making this park relevant for the citizens.
Right.
And I applaud that. I think that's really, really important to recognize that it's not just money is one thing, and we have to be conservative in many ways because of how the budgets are, but also recognizing that we need spaces that are appropriate for kids to play.
Absolutely.
And I think, I just really applaud you for this heavy lift that you've done.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I mean, after we do the outfield and we do the, and we get the water fountains and stuff, it will be close to the $80,000 that we have to bring.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, they're too large,
Well, we did
appropriations, but,
we did do some upgrade already, fencing.
12,000 in fencing. So,
Yeah, there's that.
so we've done a lot, like you said, so
Yeah.
some of it's come on already.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we've been listening to this for almost a year now, and it's a lot of work
It's come to
that's
fruition.
gone into that place.
Yeah, we should have something really nice by fall.
But also what's really good is the rec committee.
Yes.
They have volunteered a lot of their
Well,
time.
that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm saying.
They're up there.
All this volunteer and everything is translating into something meaningful for the town.
Everything done by Hurley Day, but.
And then the fall, going to be the football, flag football.
So flag is gonna start a little earlier. They're up over 250 kids, so they're actually
Oh,
expanded
nice.
again. So they want to start 2 weeks earlier so that they have more time. They're actually looking to do Friday nights with lights. There's a potential donor that's going to donate the rentals of the lights for the town. And, yeah, so that's huge. That's what I'm trying to get the outfield sport done by August, mid-August, seeded and everything.
That's the position of the field, does it need to be rolled?
Yes.
No, I mean, you mean the infield? So the infield, I'm gonna have to power rake it. I'm gonna do a little more next year to get that better prepared. They can't play games on it. I mean, right now, if they skip a ball up, it'll take right to the jaw or something. It's not safe. So we didn't get the weeds. There was roots still underneath it. It's practice wise, you can get away with it, but you can't have licensed games there yet.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mike, highway department report, anything you want to say?
We're trying to work in between the raindrops. It's a couple of unexpected things popped up on Joy's Lane. There was a 70-year-old pile of culvert on the road that the engineers didn't think had to be replaced, and when we scoped it, we discovered that it was in pieces, and we had a big road up, had closed for 3 days. Looks like underneath, I took some pictures.
Yeah.
Historically, it looks like there was a stone wall laid up, a blue stone wall. Must have been a stream that come down off the mountain up towards the mission is that. It used to be an old stream that come down through here for the farms. But we got it all back together, and today we had a what's called a trench box because soil was caving in on the men when they're trying to put pipe in. So for safety reasons, I ordered the trench box. We rent that, so when we're digging, we put the trench box in and we dig out of it, and protects the safety of the men. And we'll continue on and move along.
Is there any new location where we're gonna put the speed humps now that they're out of there?
Third and the third.
No,
Third end for each end.
no, with the old movable speed humps. I know we had at one time with a list of like certain areas that were.
That thing tore the road up so bad.
Oh, really?
Well, we can discuss that in another time and what your thoughts are, but
I can't leave it.
it was
Okay.
difficult. You gotta put it in, you gotta use epoxy to put the screws in to hold it in place. And you go to take it out the whole winter, it tore all the blacktop up out of the road, and we had to patch the whole road. I've been talking to the manufacturer and we've been trying to figure out ways that we can utilize it more, but
So,
wasn't my favorite thing last fall.
so will you be putting in the permanent speed bumps in the next few weeks on Joy's Lane?
Yeah, as Mike has said, one third of a mile in on the east side,
East side.
1/3 mile in on the west side. If you 2 speed humps there.
Not a speed bump, speed bump.
Speed hump, hump.
With an H. Speed bumps going parking lots.
Any questions? Okay. I guess now is the public hearing. All right, I'm motion to open public hearing on Travis Wilbur. All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody on the list.
So, public hearing, that's on.
Yeah, there's nobody on the list. That's one of them.
No, it's
So let's try this now.
All right. Is there anybody wish to speak?
Let's try this now.
Travis, Travis, you want to speak?
If you guys need anything from me, absolutely.
Second, second, that was great.
So, yeah, for those that don't know, I'm here specific to an escrow issue. Solar panels installed on my property back in 2023. The application was made in 2022. It was approved. I didn't hear anything for 2 years. And then last month I got a bill for, I believe it was $857 from the town. Getting that money. So we scheduled this today, see if that was something that the board would approve.
Anybody else wishes to speak on this matter? As I understand right now, in your escrow account right now is about $750 left over.
I'm not aware of the exact amounts. Sure, we can take a look.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have it down to the dollar. I know what I paid, some of the things that were charged, have the, account balances that were provided to me, but I probably could
You have a balance of, what's left over in the account?
somewhere in here. Yeah.
You're somewhere in there.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
That should
No, I know that. We have to do a motion.
Well, why don't you guys get more information? So when was the last time you appeared, before the planning board?
The last appearance was in the spring of 2023. I believe it was May. May was when it was voted on and approved, May of 2020. My last communication with the planning board was shortly thereafter. The installation took place in July of 2020.
So Travis, unlawful. Those, for those who are not aware, what's the rationale, why do you need it?
So my issue with the town was, one, my financial obligation. I felt that it was far too substantial. So for those that weren't here last month, I ended up, I've already paid $4,500 just to get site plan approval for a solar ground array. And that's just for the approval. That's not any of the additional costs that come in line with that, which are extensive, I can tell you that. Above and beyond that, I had no idea that I was responsible for those costs until the conclusion of the meetings. So I went through 6 or 7 months of planning board meetings. I was given an outline saying that you're responsible for certain things. Those things in total amounted to a few $100s. I said, I can absolutely afford that. That's fine. Then I was handed a $4,500 bill at the end, and I gasped that I had to pay it in order to get my certification. So I did. I didn't have it, I had to borrow it, but I did all that because I had already been through a nightmare to get this approved. So finally, following the approval, I was done. I thought the nightmare was behind me. And then flash forward 2 years ago, and I randomly, after no communication whatsoever, I received a bill. So as I dove into it further, I seen that there was some other public issues specific to escrow. I believe it's Article 19 within the town code specifying that homeowners need to be provided harm for the county that they continue, which I was not.
Yeah, but the project's done now, so you don't really need.
The project was done, in July. It was operational. July or August, it was turned on. And operational.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
So Mike just brought up that you have balance in your escrow account.
A balance are you referring to a balance due?
No,
No, a balance.
you have a balance.
Balance in there, 700 and something.
So that I'm not familiar with. The document that I have says that I paid in $4,500 and that I owe, in addition to the $4,500, I owe another $857. If $700 magically arrived in my account, I will not argue that fact, but I was not aware.
So the question I want to ask, when
Yes,
was
sir.
the last time you got a bill? Got the account?
A month ago.
1 month.
Yes, sir.
And before that, when was the last time you got?
2 years. 2 years.
Thank you.
You got
It's
you
2 years.
received a summary.
And I don't even, when I initially received the certification, I never actually got a bill. I was just told verbally that this is what.
Account balance. an account
Correct,
balance.
yeah. When I looked at all the documents, it appeared as though the attorneys, although they were dated for various months, beginning in January of 23, none of it had been signed off in December, so I wasn't sure how to look at that function of it. But yes, I had a physical document paper a month ago. Before that, I had a verbal 2 years ago. Yes, sir.
So what I would say is first, let's go over, I know it's been a few months since you guys have addressed on these, but basically, let's go over the information. first of all, has anyone seen or viewed the planning board's escrow records for this matter? Was that submitted yet?
Okay.
Well, that should be something that you guys can look at. So let's just review the statute. So it's chapter 19 of our code, which basically pertains to consultant fees and escrows. So that reasonable and necessary consultant fee can be drawn from escrow. Basically, there's two determinations that you guys are looking at. The first is whether any unpaid escrow fees, in this case, it appears to be the amount of $850 is what's being claimed.
So,
Yeah, 857.
I'm looking now, I actually have it. You guys want to
Yeah. So this relates to unpaid escrow fees
That's the last I received.
that are being challenged. So $850 are being challenged. So looking at what those fees potentially were for and whether it was reasonable and necessary in the determination here is the first thing that you guys would be looking at. The other is the requirements that are placed upon the town planning board, which require that we give notice when we're billing against their escrow accounts. So that notice is required under our statute every month, which appears, unless there's billing from recent that was reasonable and necessary pertaining to an application that was included 2 years ago. It seems like as regards to the $857,
We had to change the number because he had $782 in the deposit, but then they put a bill of $1,630 on December 30, 2024, which left them minus 847. But really,
So the total amount would be-
1,630, so that they don't take that 782.
that would be
So really,
correct.
your plan should be for 1,600.
Yeah, if he still owes it.
I mean, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
My hot water heater is blue, so it's already gone, but yeah, I also have, all of the specific invoices and all
So
that.
I mean,
Guys
it's
require.
really important that we understand how many of these you received.
That is the only one. That is the only document I ever received.
And this is, yeah, but this is dated 12/20/2024.
I don't know. I received it in certified mail. There was an attempt of certified mail in, I want to say, April or May of this year.
Yeah.
I never got that. So then I got just a standard mail a few weeks later. I never even received a ticket or anything, but again, I've had some problems with certified mail here before. Following that, that's what was in it. Like I said, I was not aware through the process whatsoever that I was responsible for any of this. I knew that a lawyer had to be present, but I did not in any way was I prepared for, almost $5,000 now,
I mean,
$5,800.
again, the point, the major point that we need to be very clear on
Yes, sir.
is when you got these reports.
That is the only report that I have received, and that was provided to me about 6 weeks ago. When I received that, I immediately called down to the town asking what is going on here, and they asked me to come.
You said the other one was all verbal.
That's-
And that-
that's-
And I know that was already paid. Yeah, there was never though even a monthly update as this went on.
Yeah.
I did a $500 deposit in spring of 2023. I was never told when the $500 deposit had depleted, nor was I informed in any capacity that the bill was just spinning and spinning out of control until they were like $5,000.
We need to change that to 600.
1,600, yeah. Now, here's the thing. The reason why there's an issue, if you're saying, is a neighbor.
Yes, sir. I did have a neighbor that contested my solar array.
But that's what.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not defending anything. I'm just saying, the reason why it was done this way, that offense, is the neighbor complained about it. So already, according to the planning board, which then sent it to the planning board lawyer to review. Won't do it. Now, according to here, it says that, it says here that 10/23 on 10/23/2023 was your last invoice, and then you got an invoice on 12/30/2024.
Never received any of
The
that.
big more.
That may be when they completed it, but I
It's a work period.
not.
So it looks like the very last invoice pertains to work that was, professional work that was completed in May, on May 31st, 2023. So invoice for attorney's
Backdated
fees
work.
from May of 2023.
That you were invoiced then. You
No.
got it?
No,
No, that was when the work was completed.
Right, so he has had no documentation.
Zero.
Right.
And just to be clear, I had an open email communication with, I mean, I'm sure it's still on the server, dozens and dozens of emails. None of those emails, again, describe this, none of those emails were specific to my escrow account. None of those emails included a PDF with that content, none of it, ever. And again, it's all there. I mean, I'm sure you guys use the same Gmail. It's a generic, it's all documented, our whole conversation throughout those 8 months, and it didn't exist.
But that's changing like a 16.
16, yeah.
Yeah, that,
Basically what it is, you have right now, minus that 1,600, you have something 700 in escrow.
Right.
Yes, sir.
My feeling is that should be returned. to-
well, yeah, so basically if you're making a finding that the billing for 1630 that he recently received was either not reasonable and necessary, or there wasn't a timely statement sent to him as required, then it would be the amount of the 1630 for that last bill.
Thank you for the detail.
Yeah, that's really.
No, I got it all. You know, and if I can say, I know it was discussed briefly. If you guys in the future, I know it's planning board / town board, but develop like some kind of a flat rate if you're getting residential solar, I think it would make it so much easier, or transition it to where, you know, you may not need as substantial of a site plan. If that's the way that you guys want to go, I think open and honest with the public of how much it's going to cost and give them that number up front. Because if you're a working class person in this area and you're trying to save money from Central Hudson after they've been taking advantage the last 5 years, you feel like you've in turn been taken advantage of on the other side by trying to do the right thing and spend all this money. And, you know, it hurts our wallets, and I think we've dealt with enough of that the last 5 years. So that would be great for everyone.
Yeah, we can discuss basically whether it's excessive fees or not.
Yes,
So
sir.
my concern here is that we weren't ever notified in
Never.
a timely fashion. And that to me is precludes anything
That
else.
should be enough, because that's what it's about.
Make a motion.
What I would say is you would have further discussion. So you're right now reviewing that. I'm drafting based on it, and I would say have discussion. I can put it in written motion, and then on Monday, you guys will be back there, and then you can just, you know, make a decision without any further discussion.
Thanks, man. That's perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Or do you want to, is there anyone else here to speak on this matter? If there isn't, you guys can make a motion to close the hearing. We can have further discussions. I can make sure that everything you discuss is.
Can you just back that?
Please.
And what is that? Is it just the escrow account report?
That's what was provided to me about 6 weeks ago. Do you guys want a copy or photo or any of this?
Yeah,
Okay.
You have a copy of this?
Yeah. I mean, it's in the file. Yeah, it's in the file.
So technically, yeah, so the findings that they're making is that the outstanding fees that are claiming due in the amount of $1,630 is no longer due. And people get not dismissed. We're going to use the language from the statute. So I'll draft it if you guys don't like the language, and it's all the language specifically from our statute. You guys can modify it however you want. Let's have a discussion. You guys are just looking at information for the first time. We've established what the actual outstanding amount is. So all that will be entered in here. And then I recommend that you reserve your decision so that you can have a written decision to review before Monday and then make that determination at that time.
Thanks, man.
I think it's sound everything that we should do it, they'll be reasonable expenses, they'll and keeping us monthly. The project was in 2.5 before I got that rest bill, so that's not timely at all, so.
Close the hearing.
Okay. All right, ready? I make a motion to.
Well, I don't know, you finished, do you have any?
Only to ask, do you require my presence at all on Monday, with any further discussion, or?
So technically, once they close the hearing, basically, no additional information, will need to be submitted, by you. If you have anything else that you want to say, I would say, make sure you say it now. And then, you can either contact, the town, after Monday night, or someone could just get an update as to the determination.
No, I would just say if you need any other documentation, like I said, I have it all, and I can online make a photocopies or PDFs and email it, or whatever I have, if you guys need anything. But I really appreciate your time. So, thank you.
Thank you. And, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion to close public hearing. Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we want to discuss this at all now?
Well, we can discuss it, I don't think, I think we're all on the same
I
page.
think we all want to.
I just let's let Matt send the document with the motion, the resolution, sorry. And then we can go on that. I mean, we have enough information and Matt's gonna do it, so we can, we're all clear on what we're signing.
Good enough. Okay. Any further-
Is that gonna be here Monday, we can do?
Yes. Yes, should be good. And by the way, another thing too, our next town board meeting is going to be this coming Monday, the 16th at Town Hall. The reason being it's done that way because our usual meeting, which would be the
24th.
is on primary day. And we can't move it to Monday, the 23rd, because it's setting up.
Machines.
All right, so we are, and, you know, but we feel that this is a important meeting coming up there, and we need to have full board here. So we're going on the Monday as opposed to the Tuesday, because that, Dowdy has training on Tuesdays, the first responders. So Monday will be our town board meeting at Town Hall at 6:10. And then the decision will be handed to you and so forth. Okay. Any further? Okay. Thank you.
You can close,
We close it.
You did.
The next thing, is the, estimate for the water testing and resolution that has been taken care of, John.
Yes, water test came out to a little over $3,200, so roughly $3,300. That will include every test, include PFAS and everything else. So that'll exceed basically what needs to be, required for drinking water. But, Mr. Brown's requested that anything and everything be tested for, so that's what we're doing.
And one of the things that it is because of close proximity to the, landfill.
Excuse me, what are we talking about on the agenda?
It's about halfway down, water testing.
It's the first one. That's not the water testing.
Got moved around. Samara's copy has it lower.
I would.
I'm sorry, I have the old ones.
Okay.
The one on the screen is the newest.
So you're tackling this water estimate first?
That's for the tin part.
Correct. So that was the requirement that, the engineers thought we should definitely move forward on, even if the county didn't think we needed it, we still want to have the testing done. Again, it's to cover our butts and move forward.
Who's gonna do that testing?
It's environmental labs, out of Newburgh. So they were referred to us from the engineer.
They do a lot of municipal testing for, pretty sure it's say Kingston, all over, a lot of smaller municipalities.
That's on the, 25th, sorry. I
We need a resolution or?
don't think so.
I think we-
But again, this is supposed to come under the grant.
This is all covered under our grant. This is not under taxpayer dollars.
Which line?
This is,
county,
That
80,000.
Okay.
what's the 80,000 matching grant? Okay. highway super, done with that? Okay.
I'm not.
The highway superintendent, 4-year referendum. At the request of, the highway superintendent, he would like, for example, for us, pass a resolution for a referendum to extend the highway, term from 2 years to 4 years. Towns around here in Marltown,
Most of the towns in Ulster County are 4-year term. You know, the highway department is not a political entity, so, I propose that we do that. So when I retire, that you can get a good person in there and it'll let them, whoever follows me will be able to settle in and not have to worry about, every other year, political firestorm. So, it makes sense. And, like I said, all your surrounding towns, the Association of Towns, our Superintendent's Association, all recommend it. So it's, I put it forward.
Yeah, and I will say, I checked over the surrounding town, and they're keeping supervisor at 2 years, but the highway, they're both of them were 4.
I just want to let you know that, if this referendum, if we do put this referendum on the ballot in November, the effect will be the following month. Right. It won't be, new term coming up, it'll be the following term. So in other words,
Right.
the next time.
Right,
will be
not
2
for Mike,
years.
right, he's not doing it for him, right.
This will come in following. I know that, I'd like to,
And we have tried it before and it did not pass, but that was a different
Right.
I
time.
think we
So,
combined it with the supervisor and the highway. That's
and the
fine.
clerk at the
And the
time,
clerk also.
yeah. So,
well, I have, one of the things that Debbie Dowdy has asked me, if we can just discuss this further at the next meeting on that, if you want to be part of that.
well,
So-
there's no hurry anyway.
Yeah, you have time.
Well, we have to bring it, we have to submit the referendum by August.
Right, so.
Yes, we are.
It's a local law too,
Yes.
so there's a hearing, but the issue is, regardless, it doesn't go into effect next year, so if you do it after August and submit for a referendum next year, it's not going to change the actual outcome, it's still gonna go in effect at the same election.
Oh, so you're saying it's to be in the election of 2026, so do the same thing.
Or
28th. Before the 27th.
7,
2 years.
yeah.
27.
Right,
So
but
regardless, as long as if you got it on the ballot.
Anytime.
You can put it on a ballot in 26. You can have
that's
it.
what I'm saying, you can
Yeah.
have it about the 26th, so
Yeah.
like change anything.
Okay.
Right, so, okay. We have plenty of time to talk.
Okay, the next thing here is time sheet policy change. What the basically is that, we have two time sheets that we do. One is on ADB or function, and the other one is handwritten or less. And, well, we have been asked by HR Visions, our HR company, to eliminate the paper one, simply using ADP. I know that, I like to see every paycheck, every payroll, what the, bills is more or less.
Right, so what I will do moving forward is, once we establish this and you guys adopt the resolution, I will print out, once I've made the changes and, made it semi-logical, I will print out a ADP report for everyone, almost as the example that I printed out today for John. And you will review it before obviously processing it. Couple of the things that we need to talk about within that resolution, but I believe that you guys have covered, is we just need a way to streamline how people take time off. But preferably, it's very nice through email. And what I do is, like today, for instance, I went through the time cards and I saw who had off, and then I just emailed them, what kind of time are you using? Copied the, if there's a supervisor, they email me back, makes it really easy. It's one process, one streamlined process. There's, right now what we're coming up with is time card says one thing, ADP says another thing. And it's very hard to figure out which is correct. In my opinion, you're punching. So when you are physically there, that's when your day starts. When you leave is when you punch out.
My suggestion to that is, one of the problems we have, that the timesheet and the ADPs do not match. In
Exactly.
other words, ADP gives more hours, because sometimes
There's
if the person supposed to come in at 8:30, and they come in at 8:25, they get that 5 minutes, and that adds up later on. So my
It's actually
suggestion is
8:24,
that,
six
right,
hours.
my suggestion is that if they come in at 8:30, they punch in at 8:30, not sooner. And same thing on
ADP is a terrible platform,
I know that.
and, we use a fingerprint with ours.
We do as well in town hall. We do as well in town hall.
Well, we don't,
I mean,
we can.
there's accuracy to it. You have to keep up on it. There, by all means, ADP has some quirks and we're working through them. It is not highway that has the problem, not one bit. And if it
If
is,
somebody comes in, I had to stop everybody from punching early. If you punch in 8 minutes early.
You're not
you're
getting
getting-
paid.
exactly, but we catch that.
It's just
And
really
then
good.
I balance it back to you and you say to me, no, there wasn't overtime that
I
day.
mean, I used to have 300 employees on paychecks. We never had this.
I did
And
1,700
everybody signed
employees.
in on
Well,
their
it-
computer when they.
I did 1,700 at the county and we dealt with this every payroll. I mean, the only way to do it is to just do exactly what we're doing. We have a great process with highway. I send you guys a proof, you send it back. There's, problems, there isn't problems. Mike reviews everything. I think we are really headed in the right direction. And for us, at the town hall, I think that this is a really good idea.
Well, one of the problems we have, for example, and I noticed this, one employee works 40 hours. Is the max you can work by overtime. And yet when the ADP records it, it's 40.5 hours, which makes that 0.5 overtime in a sense. I would like to see, for example, when they punch in exactly the time it is. If they have to wait 5 minutes, so punch in, wait the 5 minutes then. So ADP doesn't get this thing wrong. You have the same thing with that highway that you allow.
There's a 7 minute,
They have
if you
to,
punch in 7 minutes early or 7 minutes late, you're still punching in at 8:30.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I have to do.
That's usually fine. So if you
Or-
punch in it's at 8:23, that's 8:30. If you
Right.
punch in at 8:37, that's still 8:30.
At 8:22, you don't get the extra.
Then you get the extra 8 minutes.
Then it's gonna be 8:15.
It's actually gonna be
I had
8:45.
guys punching in at 5 after 6.
How would you deal, Wendy, with work that's entirely outside the office? Sorry to make it personal, but for instance, I'm getting paid for being here tonight, but I'm not punching in and out.
Right, so what you're gonna do in the future is you're gonna send me an email when you get back to the office tomorrow. Hey, Wendy, I punched in for the town board meeting at 6:00.
Mhm.
We left at 8:00. The other thing is I can reference that.
Yeah.
I can just look at Lynn's minutes.
Are you still gonna want timesheets for employees?
No, we're
Okay.
doing away with the time sheets.
Okay.
What we're gonna get basically, what I'm gonna get basically is reports for all the hours.
Right.
So if you have somebody getting paid differently for one job and another, would you give them two logins?
No,
No.
no, it all goes by fund. So all I need, so for instance, Molly's working two
Yes.
different departments, just to use her as an example. So at the
Exactly.
end of the 2-week period, what she will say, I will send her an email. She's a little hard. She doesn't have physical email, but I will write it out. She will physically sign it and tell me, okay, this time was in the town clerk's office. This time was Bill's.
So you're just gonna have to do that.
This is what John Ross.
So you're gonna need email communication to replace paper anomalies.
Right, but it's not gonna be as much, and there isn't gonna be as much configuring as there is right now. And again, all of it is foilable, goes into their employee file if needed. I keep very extensive records. It's just a way to really streamline the process. It's, again, not against highway. It is purely what we are dealing with at town hall and the transfer station.
Now, my question to you is that it's 6 minutes, you said, right?
It's 7 minutes.
It's 7 minutes.
7 minutes is when it changes.
How about you have to have pre-approved overtime?
You do,
We
but
do.
but the problem is technically, if they worked it and they physically punched it in, you have to pay that. So the only thing you can do is go back to your employee and say to them, please. And we do have a little bit of a language barrier, a little bit of a communication issue at the transfer station, which Mike is working very hard to correct. They get there, they want to punch in so they don't forget, they punch in and then they don't pay attention. And at the end of the payroll, they've gone over or they're a little short. The other thing we can do is we can adopt some sort of resolution that states, there has to be approval in the beginning. Mike is very good about that. I just email Mike and say to him, hey, this person has, he says, nope, we had nothing going on that day. No, then I'm fine with it because I have a supervisor telling me they can't be paid. So we could also work on a system with that with you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
This, on this resolution, there's a sick, language policy statement.
Yep.
Where's, what is?
So Samara wrote the resolution. I believe that she copied a significant amount out of the town handbook. She just changed a little bit of it because obviously the town handbook was written X amount of years ago. And this is a newer procedure that we have at the town. I don't know where she got the information. I don't know if she bounced it back to Visions. I looked at it and it looked good to me.
She sent it back to HR Visions for Kelly Cole to look at this.
Right.
So this is obviously connected to some paragraph, to some number
Yes, I believe in the handbook.
Handbook.
Yeah,
in the handbook.
In the handbook,
Yep.
that's all you handbook.
yes. And this will, once you guys adopt this, I believe that this will supersede what is in the handbook. Because the handbook was written so many years ago, it's not updated to say anything about time clocks, punches in, anything like that. So in theory, when you guys accept this, if you do whatever language you choose, that will then replace what is in the physical part of the handbook, if that makes sense.
You'll have to present your amendment in that part of the
Exactly.
handbook to refer to this.
So, yeah, all I'm trying to get here is what's the way that we're gonna be changing? And what number? The policy statement, this looks like a standalone, but this is coming from something.
Yes, it's coming from the handbook.
That's right, well, it needs to be on this resolution.
I would say that then Samara needs to go back and
You just need to amend the handbook.
yeah, she needs to amend the resolution.
The resolution needs to state very clearly where this is coming from and what the changes are.
I think that's great advice, and we can give that to Samara. She can make those changes and then have it, re-presented on, the 16th. I think that's a great idea, because then you have a direct reference to what was
Yeah,
changed.
well, you can't, I mean, this is just like a
No, I-
standalone document. You
I
can't-
didn't write it, but I know what Samara's intention was, and I think that that's a very minor detail for her to make to, get what we
Minor
need done.
change. It's a
Yeah,
very
minor
significant
change.
detail.
Well, okay, significant detail, minor change. How's that? All right.
And one day that should say 7 minutes at the height of front.
Yeah, the reason it is 7 minutes across the board is when it changes. So again, if you punch in at 8:36 and 59 seconds, it will stay at 8:30. It is just when you switch to that 7 that it changes. The reason Samara didn't want to write that in the resolution is because we were trying not to make it public that there was a 7-minute rounding rule. We were trying to make the employees kind of know, like, hey, if you get out of your car and you trip, you got 5 minutes to make it to the time clock, was our theory. But I agree that it should be 7. I did bring that up to Samara, but I understood what she was trying to do.
It's up to the department that has a supervisor to, if they're punching in every day at 8:32, 8:31,
Counseling
8:35. That's an issue that you got to pick up with the employee. We don't let it happen.
So,
We work very hard not to have it happen.
okay, so it's actually, I've looked it up briefly. So it's section 504 of
Thank
our
you.
handbook is the time records.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, that's basically what we need to reference and
Okay.
say it's coming directly from this.
Yeah. And I was contemplating whether it made sense to, for the purposes of tonight, basically, saying that, bring the revised, topic, to replace section 504 of it. However, I'm a little off, because there's two parts of section 504. One has to do with correction of errors, and one has to do with falsification of time records. That does not appear to be directly addressed, so I don't know if you want to replace the entirety of it.
This is the first time reading, so I'll see it tomorrow.
So it might be, it might be good to clarify
Yeah.
that and vote on
We
it.
can make it into 2 parts, and with section 504A and do whatever those clarifications seem to be of the resolution.
Okay.
To enhance the.
I think her point was just to get it out there so that the board understands we're trying to make this change, why we're making the change. And, obviously, if it needs to be changed, I have no doubt that Samara will do whatever we need.
I would just request, this is probably gonna get to you guys Thursday, Friday to review it. We have a quick turnover.
Yeah.
So if you do have any comments or concerns, just make sure you get back to us on email.
One item that I'll note is that it'll show a missed punch. Either welcome, they'll put the thing in, it'll know, saying that they told them that they did it, and they'll walk out, and then it'll show up in the computer as a missed punch. So it's, I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes the
Charlie had
clocks
it the other
don't.
day, and Charlie's like,
Yep, sometimes the clocks,
Like the reading.
it's all electronic. Sometimes, Mike will say to me, I punched out, I'll go look at ADP, it won't be there. I'll refresh, it'll be there. I mean, for the most part.
fresh.
So if Michelle goes in and refreshes it, it might work. If not, sometimes the time clocks have to be restarted. They're
I
computers.
literally set 5 people in a time clock, and everybody's punching in and punching out.
They're computers. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Nothing's perfect. I like I said,
You gotta invent the computer so it's perfect.
well, yeah, of course.
Okay, so we're gonna make our life easier. So John, you'll sit down tomorrow and present this on Monday.
You'll have it before that, so I would request that you review, email, and then if you have any suggestions before Monday, it's gonna be a quick turnaround.
Thank you.
So we're not voting on that.
Okay, moving on. Next thing is the 84 Cedar update. We have contacted the, I shouldn't say the owner, we contacted an heir to the building, and we let her know basically what is going on. She came up last week, and there was a tax default on it, which she took care of. So no longer is in foreclosure in that aspect of it. And so our first thing was to do basically is we wanted to board the place up. The reason being is to demolish it, it's expensive. To board it up, do it that way. When I went down there and Paul went down there was one wall that was totally missing. You can't board it up. It has to be demolished. We spoke also to the neighbors on either side. One neighbor on each side who were interested in buying the property. And so in other words, what we are going to do is on that issue that we are going to talk to Julie. And what we do basically is let them know that this has to be taken care of. Otherwise, we will come down, demolish it, and put it on the tax lien. You know, the whole thing is, we prefer not to do that because if someone buys a property, they must do it whatever they want to do it, and it takes a 12-hour shoulder for all of us. Our first instinct was to let go of the tax foreclosure, but that has been taken care of. So now it's back in our court, and we're just waiting on the owner. Now, the owner has a problem with it because the owner's father, I'll say Julie, her father lived at the place, passed away in the place. Turns out, doing a little research, that the name of the owner of this property is the father's mother. It has never been changed to the father living there or to the daughter, and now has to take care of it. So this is a problem right away, that there has to be a change of ownership and all that's coming through here. But the thing is though that she has been talking to the neighbors, and they've been talking to us about the place. So we're gonna wait on this a little bit and see what goes through.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just recommend that the town does not take any further
No, that's it.
action
That's
as far as the sale of the project, of the property, only because if it's an estate issue, there's a lot of things that need to happen.
I know.
there. And we don't want to be caught up in a situation where the town said you would sell it to us or.
Well, no, what it is basically is that the neighbor called us up,
Yeah, the town is not
and then we're not
taking part in
selling
any
it.
types
No.
of sales. They just pay the back taxes, so it's not going in rent.
Right.
So basically,
have to
what
see.
I would say is, this was declared an unsafe building. There is a safety issue. There should be a short time frame given to the property owner to have this remedy.
Yes.
Otherwise, the town really needs to take action.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's what we have done. That's what we have notified.
And give them the context and then walk away. It's up to them to
That's it.
decide how they're selling it. In the meantime, it's going to be up to us as based on the liability factor that property now becomes safe. However that happens, whatever type of timeline it takes is how we have to proceed.
I will say on Saturday, I'm talking about a joke that touched up, they don't want people at that house, so
Yes.
they are looking to, so.
Hey, listen, this is a mistake.
No, I know that, but there's movement on it anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the 84 Cedar. All right, next one is O'Hare Mountain Road, unsafe building, public hearing.
I do have those pictures here.
Yeah, this is the, on O'Hare Mountain Road, this is the building we're talking about. There is no address to this building, it's just, we know by an SBL like 5 number.
What number was it, Mike?
Oh, the SBL number?
It was a resident.
This is, well,
Yeah, there's no, you're talking about the previous map one or this?
this one. This is the shed on O'Hare Mountain Road. This is
So the previous one was already declared an unsafe structure, by the town board. So if action isn't taken, the town board can then take action on the property. This is a new matter that is on Ohio Mountain Road. But this is, it just has an SBL number. It has no actual property address.
It's not the one with the shed. Yeah. This was, I guess this is just a storage shed.
add some sort of structure.
So we have a resolution, pursuant to chapter 64 of the Town of Hurley Code, determining unsafe building exists at Airline Road, SBL 37.2-4-63.100, and to schedule a hearing for July 8th, 2025. I don't have to read this thing.
Now it's posted and, everyone's reviewed it, and everyone's reviewed the report by the code enforcement officer.
Yes. Okay, so, Lynn, you were gonna take care of, legal notice on this?
And do we know who the owner is?
Yeah, we'll go through basically, on a record, either with the assessor's office or,
They didn't get the last one.
Do you want to vote on this?
this is primarily to schedule for the hearing. The hearing is when you guys will actually hold a determination saying that it's unsafe and then, declare that, further action, may potentially be taken.
So we can.
You can make a motion.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and, so I would recommend taking care of this tonight.
Yeah.
That way, there's more than enough time for Lynn to get the notice out. Part of the notice requirement is that, not only be posted and sent via registered or certified mail, but also filed with the Ulster County Clerk. So,
I mean, that motion.
I second it. All right, second. All in favor? Aye.
July 8th.
So it passed. It passes 4-0 with one absent.
Spring's seen better days.
Next one is, all right, MS4, we're gonna table this till next time. We have, all right,
Thank you.
okay. Ethics committee members. This is something that, the ethics committee hasn't met in about a couple of years, so forth, and we are, I believe, right at this point, 3 members down. We just got a resignation, just today, and so what we'd like to do basically is have anybody interested in it now. You have,
I posted something today, but it said they were looking to fill a vacancy. Are you now telling me that it's 3?
vacancies.
I can update that tomorrow, first thing. So we'll say up to 3 people. It's on our Facebook page and it's in 2 different places on the website, so it's very visible. But yeah, we'll make it 3. And the contact, I think, is Samara's email address.
Okay, so that takes us to the ethics committee, you did the water testing, housing advisory committee. Joe, this is for you.
So where we're at the moment is there's only really 3 of us on that committee. We're still looking for people. I'm calling on people.
We have a list of all the people that are interested in housing. Again, housing advisory committee.
Okay. This is the,
Right. You like us?
that's still will be.
You want me to contact those people?
No, I'll call them.
Okay.
I'll call them tomorrow morning. Maybe message for them. And email them that way.
Okay. And so far we have you. Yeah, on the committee. Okay.
That makes you the advisor, not the committee. The housing advisor.
I don't think.
Everything is approved 1-0. Come on, Wick, we're cooking.
All right, so, we'll take care of that.
Yeah.
That's a matter now about that.
Yeah, I'll
Contact. I think there's 4 names on there.
So I'll make 5.
That'll make
That makes the bottom.
John.
That's your question.
All right, the next thing here is, the rail trail.
So we can do it from anywhere. If I have to.
There is money.
Yeah, it's a custom system. My wife's company uses it.
What we have to do is, in order to get the grant on board, we have to have an RFP to do something with the rail trail. We talked once before about.
This is the first that I've seen.
We spoke with, I think, Heather about this thing. One of the complaints we have about the rail trail, especially the section that's not paved,
the wooded, entering the wooded section
Right,
until the Marbletown, line, about a half mile.
right. So the question basically is, I know the fact that I talked to some people who don't want to pave for the wooded area. What we can do instead is do trail mix. Because I know we get a lot of complaints that it's impassable during rain and it gets a lot of money back in that sense.
Well, we could put a surface on it. and roll
Yeah,
it,
roll the surface.
You can roll the surface on there.
But I don't think you want to.
I don't think you're.
No, I'm just saying, this is something that was suggested to us. In other words, when we spoke to, I think Ben Cappuccino with the Hudson Valley Greenway, she said things like, if you want to pave the rest of it up. My feeling is we just wrote that down. What I'd like to see is maybe put a trail mix in there and roll it that way. Keep it unpaved.
What about,
Like an item?
what about pervious?
And look what they do with the, over here.
The same thing, Shokin Rail Trail.
Like an item 4, roll.
I don't go up, right?
I can find out what they put on it, but that's over there. Pretty nice.
So would this be, this would be intermunicipal, because this would be part Hurley and Marlton, so we would need.
This would be, well, this would be early.
It's just a
When I
Hurley.
drove through there, when I looked at the bridges, Charlie and I drove through. The Marltown side is in good shape.
Okay.
When we hit the town line,
It's terrible.
ours, you go from a beautiful trail that's wide open to a trail that's being encroached by brush, and you look down through it, and it's quite muddy in spots, and, you know, I suggested to Ralph that, you know, we go in with the brush hog and cut the brush back on both sides, and then lay a layer of, stone and blacktop or whatever they have over there. I can find out.
Yeah,
But
but the
maybe
thing-
they'll
it is
just
over
lay
there.
that down and raise it up and
But that's covered under a grant in a sense. So all you have to do is basically have an RFP to show, Hudson Valley Greenway that we're doing something and they can then, you can then apply for the grant. Now, this one says for paving, we can amend that and say, trail mix more or less. And also clean up the brush around it.
you just want to stabilize it, make it, so that
It doesn't, I think that the rail committee should, to endorse this, come up with what they would like with the highway, present that to the town board, we'll put an RFP out.
You see this right now, this is the RFP we have right now. So this is online. So if you can look at this, Ralph, and so to bring it to the trail committee, ask them what they want to do. I know that, like, we put down paving because this is what was suggested to us, like that. We want to pave, do something else. This is what was suggested.
What is this?
Saw the email.
It's just a resolution, it's not an art.
This is a resolution to have.
Right.
We do something like that.
You just said something a while ago that.
It's,
This is a resolution
This is
to issue an RFP.
issue now. Okay, so do you want to vote on this?
oh, if you want to change it,
Well, we have, I want to change it.
I want to change it to
No, we
some
want
other
to-
material.
Basically, Greg, what I'd like to do is have the rail committee to come in and, you know the fact that there's money available to fix it, to do the rail trail. What is it they want us to apply for the RFP? Like, what is it they want to do?
Yeah, and it'd probably be good to know the entire length of the section, so it's a 1.3 mile section of the Hurley Rail Trail from the wooded parking lot, the wooded parking lot, county to the town line.
But this, I guess what I'm raising is that this is just a resolution to say that somebody needs to write an RFP.
Right.
I mean, the details of the RFP don't necessarily have to be in it.
Well, it says
No,
an
we
RFP.
have to change it.
Yeah.
So we don't need a resolution to
No,
do
for an
that.
RFP, you don't need a resolution. It's just a matter, which is basically was, we needed something to give to the, Hudson Valley Greenway to allow us to apply for a grant.
Right.
That's all it was for. And then their suggestion was, say, blacktop. Right, so we can actually amend that to whatever, and I think the fact that I can rail truck and they come in, knowing the fact that there's money allowed for certain things.
When we need to have the
We got the MS.
30th.
No, they skipped right away. They're not going to do it tonight.
June 30th.
Next
Would you
meeting
want
is
to
September.
Probably.
And just grant it, that has determined the second of the rail trail, kind of 2 weeks.
Surface.
We could do that.
We could just say to the
Resurface.
surface.
Resurface,
too.
stable, yeah.
Not black, but it's.
Not with blacktop. We just stop at RFP.
you also might want to put in there,
Otherwise,
refurbish-
engineering RFQ.
We could do that.
money in there, and then down the road in a few years, you can put these bridges there and widen them a little bit.
Why don't we just say refurbish the trail? Mike,
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna go.
let's just say refurbish the
All
trail.
right, so this is the wording right now, and I can adjust it, that has determined that sections of the Hurley Rail Trail need to be refurbished, stabilized, and resurfaced due to unstable, wetty, and so.
Okay.
So I basically crossed out with blacktop and put refurbished, stabilized, and resurfaced.
Submitted details and company art,
Exactly.
present this to them, so they know that we're in process of this.
Yes.
And then-
we're well in advance.
And that's it, just that sentence?
Yes,
So, so that would be the amendment. So if you want to make a motion to approve as amended.
all right. Any further discussion before we make it?
Wait a second, who's moving? Take a motion.
If the requirement for due submission, due for submission to the post office at such and such a, I mean, then you can put the time on such and such a date. If you don't want to do that now, do you want to set a date now?
Well, we have to bring it in before June 30th, obviously, so it has to be before June 30th, so it has to be something that we have to discuss on the 16th.
But my question is, this, you just need to submit this for the grant, but you don't have to have RFP
Right.
for that date, correct?
Right, that's what I'm asking.
But that's not what this resolution says.
Yeah.
That's right, that's why I'm asking this.
So the 30th is a Monday, I mean, potentially put in the 26th, so we can have whatever, Hudson Valley Greenway, we would then have 5 days to submit the approvals that they're looking for. That would
So
be
you want to just eliminate, so therefore be resolved by the town, board of the town of Hurley to authorize the issuance of an RFP and direct the supervisor's office to publish and distribute the RFP. So you're authorized, but the dates, all that.
Yes,
so remove.
that's, yeah, thank you, thanks, man.
So we're gonna move that.
So we just would take this.
All right, so there are two amendments.
You're taking out everything after RFP.
The whole thing, because it's a short. So as amended, it would read, whereas the town of Hurley has determined that sections of the Hurley Rail Trail need to be surfaced, or need to be refurbished, stabilized, and resurfaced due to unstable, wetty, and muddy conditions. And whereas Hudson Valley Greenway has grant funding available to cover the cost of this project. Therefore, be it hereby resolved by the town board of the town of Hurley to authorize the issuance of a request for proposals, RFP, and direct the supervisor's office to publish and distribute the RFP.
Okay.
Thank you.
That'd be sufficient.
So do we have a motion to approve the resolution as amended?
Yeah, one more time.
Okay,
So
any discussion?
26.
All in favor?
401.
Get that copy.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
The unamended version is on the website, but I can change it tomorrow morning. So if you just grab it from there, you'll have it. Okay. Not too early. I don't get in until 10.
All right, so we have a motion, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? One abstention? One absent. Okay, I'm sorry, one absent.
Thank you.
So around. You'll get this back to me as soon as you can. Yep.
I'll call a meeting.
Okay. All right, Doghill outfield, we talked about already. Okay, Early Heritage Community Center, bids, we had an RFP out there, no one responded in time. We now have, three companies wishing to bid on this project. All right, so, we're waiting for their bids to come in on it. We have one bid in so far for the Early Heritage Community Center.
I wouldn't release the amount.
What's that?
I won't release the amount.
No, I'm not gonna release it now. I'm saying we have one bid in so far, and, there's at least 3 others that are coming in. What happened basically is that we had the RFP and a timeline, deadline for it, and deadline to pass without the RFP, without any bids, we then contacted. And, they were going to submit bids for us from it.
As soon as I get the bids on.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, way on that, crosswalk. Okay, we have submitted a plan to the county. We have, also have one bid so far for work being done. Speaking to Matt Jankowski, he said that we should get a second bid coming through. At least one other bid. I have contacted two other companies to bid on this. So far, I have not heard anything. We only have one bid so far. All right, so what I'd like to propose is that once we get the permit from the county, and if you don't need any bids, then we resolve that one bid. Okay. We did our due diligence where we asked for other bids. Also, the issue also was the George Washington House, which is on that. I have spoken to the owner there, and she is in favor of it, of having the crosswalks there, not only the crosswalks there, but the county has a right of way to do that kind of thing. So we have approval from, even though we don't need approval from the owners and all that, because the county has a right of way there.
Right.
We have contacted the owners, and
Yeah, it sounds like everybody is on board, the state crosswalks, particularly because there is the county bus stop right there. So, makes things a lot safer for people.
okay. All right, so one other thing too, was Zandhook. I spoke to Brendan Masterson, Zandhook. It's gonna be a two-pronged program process. North side of Zandhook, which is the cemetery side, the south side of Zandhook, which is the residential side. And what's gonna be done is the north side first, the south side is much more extensive, the north side is. Brendan Masterson said that basically that this will get done by, the end of the year.
That's only up to West Street though, right?
It's up to West Street going down, yes. We are gonna try to go a little further up, more or less. But the thing is though, that, we have been told by the county that this will be done sometime last year, and now it's being pushed back to another year. So we're gonna be pursuing this with, Brendan Mason. The other side, the south side, is much more extensive. And it has to do, involves a lot more drainage issues, it involves also rolling that company coming through there.
That study that they did, I think they realized how much water they have to know because of the water at work and turning and being down on Joy's Lane. All coming
From Zandhook, yes. Yeah. So, they are going to, again, we get this thing hopefully accomplished very shortly. Okay.
I think for sunset.
We go to summer.
You're close.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, once the permit comes in from the county and we only have that one bid, I would like to, give that bid out for construction, to start the work on this. We could have to do this on that. Okay. The next thing is speed cameras. There's a pilot program with speed cameras that the town of Hurley is now part of the pilot.
Well, the pilot hasn't
Been
been approved
yeah.
yet, but the town of Hurley will be one of the towns in Ulster County should the state legislature approve the county's, the proposed legislation so that this pilot program can occur in Ulster County.
What would our ministers?
Sorry? What's that?
What streets are they from?
What?
We don't know.
It's considered our main streets.
Yeah, it's
Main street.
quite a ways away.
It's-
It's still, it has to be approved by the state legislature for Ulster County. But we are one of the towns that are going to be potentially using it if it's approved.
Well, on now, there is the speed cameras actually will send the information to the sheriffs there, who then issues tickets.
Mhm.
And so, it doesn't hurt.
What's happening with the speed limit on 209?
I spoke to Brandon Masterson about this. What happened was, everything was sent over to the Department of Transportation. They then sent it down to Ulster County, who then sent it back to DOT for fixing. And it's happening, 2 years. We already did year one, finished year one. Come, July.
Excuse me.
Hopefully within a year, something is going to be done. And the first thing that's going to be done about it is a study. They're going to pull out the cables to measure where it's going to do it more or less. So it's another year. Now, the thing is though, with Kingston, we applied to lower our speed limit to 25. Kingston applied after us, but because they're a municipality, they have more right to do that on their own as opposed to us. Okay.
Public hearing.
Not all-
Any public comment?
Okay, I have nothing else further ahead. You guys have anything that you'd like to discuss? Right?
Mike, do you want to bring up the issue with the zero waste project, those plans?
Yes, yes. What's happened basically is that we have gotten a grant that, Shabazz and Josephine have, part of this grant, we finally got a grant for zero waste for food scraps, food recycling. It's $62,000. Our portion is 20,000. You have to submit, with that kind of thing. We're meeting with Josephine and Shabazz on the following Monday, and with Greg also, and also with Samara, who's the point person on this thing. And we have to, sit down with the DEC and get approval and contracts with them within 90 days to execute the grant. And we are going to be starting this on the 24th.
Did you say we have to, $40,000 to come from us?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Here's the thing, what's going on. We approved $20,000 for Greenway already, and we only spent 10,000. So the 10,000 a day is right there, to come through. I believe, like whatever else is going on, that it's an in-kind. In other words, we can do something by working on this thing, and I think that's what we're going to go with that asset. We're going to do in-kind, involving.
And then and the 64,000, what does that cover?
That's going to cover, I guess, education. It's also going to cover composting and machinery at the transfer station. Go through.
So do the residents get that money, or does Greenway get that money?
That's part of the contract. Let's sit down with the DEC, see what that money goes through. All right. I know the fact that, one of the things they want to do is put a parking lot up at the transfer station to allow people to come there and do composting, see what's going on. Being taught about this thing. That's one grant. According to what I heard from Shabazz, there's a few other grants that are coming through. But this one is a timely fashion. You have 90 days to execute the contract with DEC. All right. The issue we have with DEC is the site is a Superfund site. Right. So that may complicate certain things because in a Superfund site, you can't disturb the land. So there are certain things they have to give us, to allow us to do certain things that come. And speaking of the DEC and the ESC, we did get that 1.325 million grant. We got that. And one of the beauty parts of it is the money we have spent so far on lawyers and on Crawford Associates with my visit, which we have already paid, is going to be reimbursed to the town. All right. It's about $170,000 total that we are entitled to get back, which we've spent so far.
All right. Excellent.
So Mike, this, again, I think it's really important that members of the town realize how much money is coming on a lot.
Yeah, what?
It's grants. A lot of
We
money.
got
is coming.
65.
And it's incumbent on this board to make sure that people understand how much work is done and how much money it is.
The thing is, what I find amazing is the cooperation we have among all the board members. Basically every resolution that we have submitted has been passed. All these grants come through. It's now making it easier for us to accomplish what we want to do in a sense. I do firmly believe that 1.325 million grant for the region for the landfill is only for to study for a solution. Once the solution is determined what it is, I do believe the state then will come in and pay for that solution. Obviously, they're not going to give us 1.325 million and do nothing afterwards. We already found a solution already coming through it, and the final, I had to give you the results of Greg. So the final outcome of Streamgo that came in to remove PFAS, their last test results showed an ND on PFAS, non-detectable.
Wow.
Not detectable. That doesn't mean it's not there. They can go, the results can only go down to 1.7 part per trillion. Anything lower than that is not detectable. As opposed to, right at this point, we have 100 parts per trillion. So like what they have done, I think is truly amazing. We are going to send the results over to our econ, since we're going to study.
Yeah, I'm here.
They
Yeah.
have the same kind of procedure. One of the nice things about it is that Kingston is going to be talking to them about putting this trailer. They are doing a wastewater treatment upgrade, a $44 million project that they can do. And, for them to accomplish, for those stream would be another $1 million to do this thing, which will solve everybody's problem, because then we can bring our leachate,
Right.
untreated leachate to them, and they will treat it. So I think this is a worthwhile project, and mind you, also, it didn't cost us anything.
Was it our goal though to
Stress, maybe.
clean the water right up so we can put it back into the ground?
Well, here's the thing. They have said StreamGo, and this is something I'm going to query Econ, that's a study, that StreamGo said that what they have right now is they remove the PFAS from that dam. They have another trailer that marries with this trailer to do reverse osmosis to remove everything else. So what comes out, moving the PFAS and doing the reverse osmosis, what comes out is pure drinking water. I won't drink it, but you can actually, leave it on site, which is great, because at that point, there is no need to do leachate polls. There's no need to, bring it to Kingston. That's it. And that's about $100,000 right there. I'm saying it's a year that we are going to have done.
What about the methane that comes off? How does that get affected?
Methane is just the decomposition of all materials. Every landfill has methane.
Right, but are we,
The methane is the methane,
measuring
which you
it?
can do. There is ways of capturing the methane
right,
and using it as a fuel if we want to do that kind of thing. There are places like down in Long Island that have captured the methane and use it as fuel more or less. What's that? So, this is something that, we are going to be looking at more or less. Well, Ralph, you have a question?
Well, I was just saying, if this was a pilot program and they clean up the leachate, is the equipment there?
No.
Or has it been taken away because it's still gonna rain, it's still gonna leach?
It's been taken away. They just came for 3 weeks.
Right, I understand, but in future, it's still gonna leach.
Mhm.
What's gonna happen to that, what's gonna transfer over to Kingston?
No, well, here's the thing. The study, what you're doing is moving the problems downstream. The second option is to prevent upstream, to prevent groundwater from getting into the landfill. That is a pipe dream. I mean, there's no channels for groundwater. Groundwater is everywhere. So there's no way you can do that. And the third thing is on-site treatment. And that basically is what is going to happen.
Prove that works.
Yeah, well, we know that it works. You see this thing here. I have spoken to IECOM, who's doing the study. I said to them that we had this pilot program. They have the same setup in a sense, also, this kind of thing, that they can put on site for that kind of thing. So we are going to see that way. That's going through it.
Short-term, leachate polls.
Kingston will do.
Right. And the thing is, what's really interesting is, there was a leachate report that Rebecca Martin and Riverkeeper produced in December of 2024, and was read by Steve Noble. We suspended taking our leachate to Kingston wastewater treatment. So for 3 months, we had no option to put that leachate on the field. And I called up the DEC and I said, "We got a problem with DEC, and that we have no one to take our leachate. What do you do about this?" And kind of like sped things out. We had meetings galore about this thing, and this pilot program came in there and impressed everybody else there. Impressed the DEC, it impressed town of Woodstock, which has PFAS in their drinking water. It impressed also Sorgans, which has loads of PFAS also coming through. So, and the final outcome was an NV, non-detectable from what they did. And I think that's truly amazing. Now I want to understand, it wasn't done scientifically per se, the protocol, because it was StreamGo that collected the treated sample. They are the ones who brought it over to Pace Laboratory in Connecticut and so forth. And a truly scientific research, third party, collecting the sample and doing it in Pace. This is something they just wanted to show that this is a possibility going forward. And as I mentioned to AECOM, they have the same kind of program going through also, same kind of protocol. So
But from now until we actually come to a solution, we're gonna bring it to Kingston.
Yes, what happened was, is that, you know, that the DEC said the dilution, by taking our PFAS of 100 PFAS and 70 PFOAs with it, does not increase, does not increase significantly the effluent coming out of Kingston Lake's water. They now accepted it. They like the idea of accepting it without PFAS in there, obviously, because, it goes into around that creek, the Kingston Lake's water, which then upstream, the town of Esopus uses that as their drinking water.
Yeah.
And, more studies are coming out with PFAS, with damage, the health requirements, of the health atmosphere. And at this point right now, the DEC requires the max, the MCL for PFAS is 3 parts per trillion. All right, you can't go lower than that because so far there's no testing that can go lower than 3 parts per trillion. So they're using that as their standard more or less. And get there. Because, you know, we're not bringing the problem downstream. You're actually having a solution.
There's a light.
Yeah.
No, no.
We're on it with, hey, this is a problem that's been on for since 1996.
Yeah.
20 years, 20 years, 30 years.
30.
30 years, 29 years. So this is something that we're seeing something.
That'll be big money saver.
We're spending a fortune on that, especially,
We spent millions,
well,
between 100 and 180,000 a year on leachate.
well, I got,
Oh, I tell you, I'm going back.
yeah, when we talked about, yeah, when we talked
All
about that.
the way through to your term. I mean, when I was in there, it had to be, it was an average of about 130 to 150.
I would say.
Yeah.
You
And the
multiply that
thing
by
is-
30 some years, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
It
once
was,
it-
it was way more than that the last couple of years.
Oh, but
15 months is not
Minutes
more.
on the other end.
And then it was doing 30.
not only that, though, the company that was doing the poll is talking and it's over now.
I don't have to remember, we were the third landfill closure in the state. They used Cornell engineering systems to help close it. And they didn't get the entire footprint of the landfill because they left 3/4 of an acre of garbage up underneath the highway garage inside that fence area. So it was not a complete closure. So I don't think they never put the liner underneath it. They just put a liner over top.
It's online. And the things that were really troubles me is that there are other closed landfills, you know, specifically Marbletown. But because we capped our landfill in 1996, and in 1996 followed on, you had to do leachate pools. The landfill in Marbletown was capped earlier. They were exempt from doing leachate pools.
Well,
Even
what
though,
happens to the, they must have leachate in there. What happens to me?
hey, you know, to be truthful, they have leachate there. It's not been collected. They don't have to collect it at all.
Poison.
There's only 4 towns in Ulster County that collects leachate. It is us, Jockey Hill, which is Kingston, Ulster, and New Falls. The worst part about it, Ulster, New Falls, and Jockey Hill, they get their leachate bill for free. Like, we have to pay.
That's not fair.
No, that's good.
Okay, so
All right.
we comment.
Okay.
I mean, make a motion to, open public comment number 2. All right. Anybody see? Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Who seconded?
Right.
Great.
Seconded. All in favor? William?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We got the motion on here first.
It's off the table.
Okay.
Going back to the battery storage, I just saw a post on the Rolling Meadows, and I just went to the Justin's Burley group. It's a site plan for the proposal. I also believe there was a copy of the application. And, got a little advice from the anonymous person today. He said that a way to maybe either stop it or halt it completely is if you go the angle of it is a historical site. On the proposal, the historical site box is checked. Is there anything that we can do to pursue speaking to the Friendly Kingston Historical Society?
It's in the town of Ulster.
I would have to see what the reference is to historical.
Okay,
Well, there's two historical sites.
Well, we are-
Talking about Hurley and also talking about down, uptown Kingston.
You look at this, and say, like, if you look at the application,
Saying that where it is, where it's only like-
it's marked off on the application, right? It's saying that.
Why would it be historical? It's urban, there's high school.
Well, I can see this.
Unsafe buildings.
Yeah, but I can't imagine the historical site, all it's urban, there's a high school. I don't know. I didn't know it's nowhere in that.
What we're gonna do also, I think, at the next meeting on the 16th, in Hurley, we're bringing up the living plan at that meeting also.
Okay, good.
To be a resolution to be part of the secret process. The town.
As
has
an
to-
interested party.
Correct.
We tried to be, we have contacted, town of Ulster to come and involve party. And we were told that we don't have any kind of determination, we have no say in it, therefore we can't be involved party.
I should
but
have
we
put
can
money on
be
it.
and that's-
Appreciate you guys. So, I didn't mean to bring it up again, but,
Oh, that's right, you're bringing up, no.
Yes.
it's-
Well, I
It's the same
said-
kind of thing, Tara.
Absolutely.
at this point, I'm researching, a friend of mine is really delving very deeply into that. This is the avenues that we go, and just one more thing that we are following track records of other, towns in New York that have had success in blocking, helping, getting the memo.
You said there's other towns in New York State that.
Yes, recently Catskill has had success, Mahopac has had success. There's at least 5 different places. I've emailed, I'm calling, I'm trying to get a hold of them just find it. Yeah.
You just email myself.
Absolutely.
supervisor, town code,
Absolutely. You got it. No problem. Thank you guys so much for keeping us up, hearing me and allowing us to work. Thank you.
People are working for them.
People say, comment.
Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, make a motion to close public comment number 2. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And for the big one, I make a motion to adjourn. Second.
I have checked.
All in favor?
All set. All right, so who's the second? Who's the second?